Hi, my name's Paul Zalesak with Leather Wranglers, and today I'm just going to show you a couple uses of the round knife or head knife. So what I have here with me is a piece of about 12 to 14 ounce saddle skirting, an old piece of scrap where I use it to practice my swivel knife cuts before I send out the SK3. One of our new Leather Wranglers round knives, and my handy dandy strop. So usually before I start cutting anything, I'll give the blade a few strops so that it's nice and polished and ready to go to work. On a round knife, typically I do this in 4 areas. I'll split the blade into halves and do half of one side, then the other half, and then flip the blade over and do the other side in the same fashion. And normally all I do is about somewhere around 5 strops on the first quarter. And then I'll do the second quarter about 5 strops. And then I'll flip it over and do the same thing on the third quarter. And then the fourth last section, give it a few strops there. Now, one of the unique features of the Leather Wranglers round knife is that we have put a cutting edge on the bottom back side so that you can do pull cuts as well. So when I strop that, again, it's about 5 strops. And now it should be ready to cut. When we looked at the round knife, we also decided that we were going to change the geometry just a little bit so that you'll notice the handle comes off of the cutting head at a certain angle here so that when you hold it, the knife lines up much better with your wrist and your hand and the way you hold the knife, so that when you do your cuts, you have much more direct control over that cutting edge. So I'm going to show you a few of the cuts. One of the things that we do very frequently when we have to glue 2 pieces of leather together is to take off this flanky leather on the back, because it's not really great for glue adhesion. If you glue it up with the flank on there and put this leather under any kind of stress, typically what happens is that it will delaminate. So we want to just lay the blade on there very flat and shave off as much of that flanky material as we can in very thin layers until we get down to good tight fibrous leather. You can see it's showing up right there. So all we want to do is shave off that flank and get down to the good, clean, nice leather. Now when we glue it up, it won't delaminate. It'll stick and adhere very easily, nicely, and solidly, and make a strong bond. Another thing that we can do with this knife is to take it and use it to shave down the corners to a certain angle if we have to put this as a butt joint and then stitch it up, and that way we have some place where it lays flat and we can stitch those sides together. We can also do this at a 45-degree angle, like for corners of boxes, etc. We can also use a round knife to take and act as a skiver to thin down the leather at the billet ends of a belt where you don't want it to be so thick for your snaps and your buckle or your tongue end. And so you can shave it down to whatever thickness you would like it to be at that point. We also use the round knife to make long, nice cuts on our patterns, or to straighten up the back of a side of leather to cut belt blanks out of. So we can do a push cut with the round knife. And we can also do that in curves to follow our pattern around. And another thing we can do with the round knife is a roll cut, where we start the cut and then we just roll through it, and we might do this for fringe on a vest or chaps or some sort of tassel work. And now what I'm going to demonstrate for you is the pull cut feature that we have on our Leather Wranglers round knife. You can use it to make long sweeping pull cuts with a straight edge. And one thing that's really good about this pull cut feature is that you can see your pattern and follow it much easier rather than pushing. We can also use this to make curved cuts. And for those of you who might want to just set the knife and use the leather to cut through and move the leather through the knife, you can see how easy that works. And just to sort of demonstrate how really sharp this knife is and how smoothly it cuts, I'm cutting through about 12 or 14 ounce leather, pretty close to 1/4 inch thick. I'm only going to use 3 fingers, very light pressure. And as you can see, it cuts very nicely, cleanly, and easily. So thank you very much for watching this video, and happy carving!